Spider-Man, no longer in the MCU Spider-Man. Hello, my friends.
Oh my gosh, Corey, good little song you got there.
I know, I just have a tune in my heart today. A tune that is
of
going
corporate greed.
There you go, exactly. Because we just got one hell of a bombshell dropped on us recently in the last 24 hours. Apparently, Disney and Sony are not going to be playing nice anymore, and Sony just made a lot of money with its big summer movie, Spider-Man Far From Home. And they realized, hey, we can keep doing this, and we don't have to give any of this money to Disney, so we're just going to take Spider-Man back and completely fuck over all of the development that the new Spider-Man has had in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Basically, the long and short of it, it looks like that Spider-Man might be leaving the MCU.
He might have spun his last web.
Oh my God! You're not even a dad yet, and you're making these jokes.
He got webbed in the face this morning when we heard that news, Corey. Well, here's the thing. I think it's just standard corporate greed. I also think it's just posturing. I think that Disney didn't think Sony would pull out of the deal, so Sony's like showing them they're willing to. Mm-hmm. Also, Sony can make this movie, but it just won't be as good. That's the thing. Sony is crazy if they think Marvel, they can just make movies like Marvel. They're like, we'll just take your momentum and make our own movies. No, you can't. The only people that make good comic book movies are Disney. I mean, look, okay, the Venom movie, not that great. Justice League
made a lot of money, though.
Overseas. That's the new secret word in movies. Like, The Rock doesn't make any money on his movies here, but he'll make like triple in China. Mm-hmm. So he's like, oh, yeah, I know we weren't number one, but for the first week, and then everything else beat us, but then he'll make a ton of money in overseas markets. But, like, I just don't know why. Maybe Sony can make a great movie now that they've seen what Marvel's been doing.
I mean, they've already struck out 3 times. That's my only problem. And, we're going by baseball rules at this point. They fucked up Spider-Man 3, which, yes, again, did make a lot of money, but, the fans were just like, no, this was pretty terrible.
Dumb.
They came back with their Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, which had potential.
The first one was good. I don't mind saying it.
It was okay.
The first one was good.
It seemed like it had the potential to maybe get better, but they sort of dropped that one, including Andrew Garfield.
Jen Squacey's head? What was that? I didn't say that right, but you know what I'm saying.
No, close enough.
Yeah.
And then we got the big thing a couple years ago when they had Captain America Civil War, and they had the big announcement that Spider-Man was going to be coming in the MCU. And even then, it was kind of a big deal. It was like, whoa, these two companies are actually coming together. They're looking past the fact that they're going to be losing a little bit of money, both for them, just so that the fans can finally see one of their favorite characters exist in the Marvel Universe.
You felt like they were just going to put aside making money because there was so much money to be made. Who cares? And they were just going to say, no, let's just figure out a way to shove all these characters in one universe. And then you had the Fox-Disney merger happen as this is, like what was it, 2 months ago, the Fox-Disney merger?
Maybe a little bit longer, but yeah, it was really soon.
That was going to be the Deadpool Spider-Man movie, like maybe 5 movies from now, but at least it was possible, because you were probably looking at the Sinister Six and a few other Spider-Man movies to come out first. And then they were going to just imagine Deadpool and, fucking Spider-Man working together. Like, that could have been an epic weird movie, and you would have had the innocence of Spider-Man, and then the ridiculousness of Deadpool, and now Ryan Reynolds even put out a tweet. He's like, I guess this movie will only exist in my heart.
That totally sounds like a Ryan Reynolds
I know
tweet.
It's sad, man. Like, I'm just sort of disappointed that these companies think they can do it without each other. When they work together, they make better stuff. It's just the truth.
Well, I just hate that they come across as, your typical corporate drone. One thing matters to them most, and that's simply money. Fuck the fan base. Who cares what they say, despite the fact that they're the ones who actually fuel and fill their pockets.
But here's the thing. Is it fair that Disney does everything? No, not fair. But what I'm trying to say is, like, Disney the only one that can
All's fair in love and war. And when it comes to the war of making movies,
Disney wins.
Disney is General Patton. Like, they bring the heat every single freaking time.
They understand the world building of all these different universes so well.
And a lot of that is definitely owed to the dedicated people who make these movies. I mean, one of the biggest figures here is...
Is it Jason? Or not Jason? Josh? What's the guy ahead of the MCU?
Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige is actually, he's produced, almost every single huge MCU
He is
film.
the heartbeat of the giant series.
He really is. He's had a hand in all of these films, and he's been really, along, of course, with the crew, the actors, and everything, responsible for bringing this character into the MCU and making him feel like a natural part and not just like as a guest character. And that's the thing that bothers me the most about this big announcement is that they've spent so long building up Tom Holland's Spider-Man and basically letting him mingle with all these other characters. They've been prepping him to essentially be the poster boy for the future of the series. He's like the next Iron Man.
They
if
did
they go
push
forward,
that pretty hard. Yeah.
They do. If they go forward and they just ignore everything else,
we're stuck with
they might as well bring in a new Spider-Man.
We got Falcon and Hawkeye. Okay. What are we doing here?
Exactly. Like, we need Spider-Man in the MCU. Now, of course...
And the whole point is he was naive and he was going to grow with the group. He was like the young, fresh face that was going to evolve with the new group to give you a whole identity. Yeah. They're like fucking that whole thing up. So I don't know if you know much of the business side of it, but essentially Sony made all the money off the Spider-Man movies, but Disney made all the money on the merchandising.
Exactly.
And Disney's like...
Pretty damn fair.
I don't know if it's fair, but I'm not going to speak onto that necessarily. But when Disney said, hey, let's just split everything 50-50, merchandising 50-50, and the movie 50-50, Sony said no. And then the whole deal fell apart. But...
I mean, here's just a little more information coming from Superhero Hype. According to the report, Disney's desire to co-finance future Spider-Man films and get 50% of the profits was the biggest stumbling block. Sony wasn't willing to give up that share, and consequently, Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige will have nothing to do with the next two Spider-Man movies. Essentially, going forward, Disney was like, look, we need 50% of the profit. And here's the thing.
They built the momentum.
They built that momentum.
Yeah.
The House of Mouse, bitches. And, you could even argue maybe they're asking for way too much money.
Maybe 25%.
Maybe even that I think is fine. Maybe they should have gone a little bit lower. Maybe they should have done 40-60 on the entire thing.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is people are more angry with Sony than anything. And of course, it's easy to be angry with Sony. They're the ones who own the rights to the character, and ultimately they're the ones who are going to make the call at the end of the day. But you go to their Twitter account, they're getting blown the fuck up. I mean, that's typical for Twitter anyway. It's a freaking cesspool of garbage.
Don't you think this is all... I'm going to be honest. Maybe I think the corporate overlords are giving them too much credit.
Yeah.
I think they knew they were going to eat shit doing this, but they want a stronger negotiating point. So they want the fans to rally around Disney and say, you must make this deal work, and force Disney to do a deal less than they want just to get Spider-Man back. Like, I feel like someone is playing the public opinion game here.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Someone is. I don't see who has the most benefit, because Sony's eating shit now and Marvel's wounded because they lost one of their famous characters.
Arguably the most popular Marvel character.
Definitely in the last year, because he's had some of the biggest scenes in all the movies. And he was Iron Man's son, practically. And he had his own movie this summer, and it was amazing.
Yeah, and for fuck's sake, it's Spider-Man.
And it's Spider-Man.
Like, he is the poster boy of Marvel Comics.
And they were getting it right. Finally, after Andrew Garfield, they had to like get that back on track, and they did.
They did.
And so I feel like no one has much to gain from this, so I don't understand why they let the deal fall apart.
Sony seems like they have something to gain from this, and they have a number of reasons to believe this.
They're dying in the court of public opinion.
Oh, of course. That doesn't mean... that's the thing. Public opinion don't mean shit to these companies. What means shit to them is
money?
Money, green, cabbage, the good stuff. And they got I think they got big heads, because Venom came out and it did way better than anyone possibly could have expected. Of course, the critics tore it apart and fans are like, this is stupid. But that movie made so much stupid money, they're like, holy shit, we just made a movie set in the Spider-Man universe without the help of Marvel, and it fucking killed.
Well, that's because Venom is so popular.
Exactly.
And he didn't have the baggage of Spider-Man.
He didn't. But Spider-Man would have even made that even better. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Then you got Spider-Man Far From Home coming out. And what I hate about it is they're so proud of it because, like, this is our movie. But the entire fucking story of that movie is fueled by Endgame.
Yeah.
And everything else. It's like, we didn't have to do shit.
You just
People were going to see that movie not to see a brand... They wanted to see more of what was going to happen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As well as what's going to be happening with this brand new character who's been built up so long. Now...
What's going to happen with the sunglasses now?
Yeah. So this news isn't even 24 hours old, and Sony Pictures has decided to actually make a official statement. Sony, and this is information that I'm getting from IGN.com. Sony Pictures has made an official statement in response to the news that Marvel Studios will not co-produce any further Spider-Man films, blaming Disney and saying it is disappointed that Marvel president Kevin Feige will no longer act as producer on the film. And they've also gone on to say that much of today's news about Spider-Man has been mischaracterized. Recent discussions about Kevin Feige's involvement in the franchise. Sony said to THR, "We are disappointed, but respect Disney's decision not to have him continue as a lead producer on our next live-action Spider-Man." Sony then further explained that Feige may have had too much on his plate to focus on an IP they do not even own, especially with the recent addition of Marvel characters from Disney's acquisition. Basically, this is their bullshit way of saying, we're not doing this because of the money, we just don't want to have Kevin Feige get worked to death. Look, he's got the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and the Eternals on his plate. We're just going to take care of Spider-Man at this point. Fuck it, no, they want some fucking money.
I think that's... I don't want to call bullshit on everything, man, but I think...
Do it! Knee-jerk reaction! Do it now! It's what the internet wants.
I just think Kevin Feige can handle it because he's gotten this far. Show me a failure before you take... He's about to fail. Bullshit's about to fail. You know what his record shows? Awesomeness.
And pure profit.
Yeah. You guys know because you're grabbing it and you're saying, it's mine, you know. Mm-hmm. I think Sony, God, I hope they do it well, because if they don't, they just ruin the best Spider-Man momentum they've ever had.
Well, here's the thing. By removing him from the... I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, well... Shit, it doesn't matter anymore. It's just Spider-Man alone again, no longer in a giant world with so much possibilities and endless stories that can be told.
Spider-Man grabbed Captain America's shield and they were interacting?
That was a surreal moment. We saw that shit in the trailer months before it came out. Still got goosebumps seeing that in the theater. Spider-Man was in that movie for 10 fucking minutes. And it felt like a milestone for the entire freaking Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It does feel like a step back. I will say that. No matter if it's a good Spider-Man movie, no matter if it has Sinister Six, no matter if it's a Venom Spider-Man movie.
In the back of your mind, you're constantly going to be thinking, why is no one mentioning Iron Man, the Avengers, or every other thing that has happened in this universe?
The Chitauri.
Exactly.
Yeah, New York.
Exactly. None of that shit is just... It almost seems like it means nothing.
You went to space, motherfucker.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Bitch, you've been to space.
Yeah.
But Sony has also gone on to say, we hope this might change in the future, which leads me to possibly believe, because I'm about to get conspiracy theorist on you.
You going to get the tinfoil hats on?
That's exactly what's happening.
We're going Joe Rogan?
Is this all just an amazing publicity stunt? Will this relationship eventually get patched up? Will Disney and Sony come together after the backlash from the fans? Or is this really something that's been planned?
I think I already got into this. To go in the conspiracy theory way. Let's go out there where there's no facts or anything. We're just guessing now. I think those two companies are dragging it out to see who will win in the court of public opinion, and that will dictate what happens next. I think people like Disney, because Disney owns everything also, so they're kind of like, no one wants to get mad at Disney because they've been giving everyone what they want, and Sony is pulling back the cookie jar.
Well, I didn't want that live-action Lion King, but go on.
Anyway, I don't know if anyone's out there has seen the new Tarantino movie, but you need to go see it immediately. Mm-hmm. Getting back to the point at hand here, though, but I think Sony and Disney thought they could drag this out into the court of public opinion, and one of them is going to beat the other one over the head with the public, you know? And obviously Sony is losing this right now. So I think Disney didn't get what they wanted, and instead they exposed the negotiations to the world to show Sony as being a dick. Mm-hmm. Or they were like, fine, you won't give it to us? Great. Announce that they're taking him back right now. You know? Mm-hmm. And they were like, making them look bad immediately. I think Disney went and showed the world what was happening immediately because it's like this took over the news cycle yesterday.
Oh, like when I heard about it, I was just like, okay, this is, it sucks, but then it just blew the fuck right out.
It was like boom, boom, boom. You know that most of the Amazon is burning down right now? And you don't even know about that?
Most of the Amazon is burning down, and we're talking about a fictional character not appearing in a franchise.
I'm not kidding. Like, there is acres among millions of acres burning down in South America right now. Major ecosystems are being destroyed that will never return, and you don't know about it, did you? Until I just said something.
I didn't know a damn thing.
But you know about fucking Spider-Man because Disney went out and tried to slay Sony in the public opinion court, and they're doing a really good job at it. I think that's what happens. They said just 50-50, guys. That's a fair move. Look at everything we've done for you. And they said, nope. Okay, cool.
Look how bright the future is.
Yeah, look how good everything.
Look how good these movies keep doing. Everybody thinks the momentum is gone, but they just keep on making more money.
I think it's also there's so many people in the world. Like, you can just make a group of Spider-Man fans, That's the other thing. I still think Sony's going to make a ton of money. I just don't think the movies are going to be as good.
I mean, there's no doubt that they're going to make money.
What was your conspiracy theory? That's mine. That Disney, they didn't get what they wanted at the negotiating table, and then they went to slay Sony in the public opinion.
I mean,
court.
this is just it's a springboard argument for making more money. Just they're gonna do something that'll upset people, get them into the whole cultural zeitgeist of what's actually going on, get them all riled up, then flip the switch and make things better again, so that way you basically got them at that point.
Who's got who? I'm so confused about your concepts. I'm sorry.
It's Sony and Disney working together. I know it sounds even crazier when you put it that way, like a lot of men in a dark room coming up with this plan.
The smoky room. Yeah.
But really, it's just a ploy to bring more awareness to this stuff, which ultimately it really doesn't need. But it could be something like that. It probably isn't, though. To me, this sounds like textbook Sony. This is the type of thing that they do. And Sony has had a history of making some really shitty decisions. This is the company that made the fucking Emoji Movie, all right? They're making some really bad decisions.
TJ Miller was a good investment.
God damn it. Like, this is a company that's made a lot of really bad decisions. But again, they also made Into the Spider-Verse, which has nothing to do with the MCU, is an animated Spider-Man movie, and is arguably the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
And it may also spawn the live action Into the Spider-Verse.
Exactly. Like, that's where I get conflicted, because it's like, fuck, Spider-Man's no longer going to be able to, buddy up with Thor or some other bullshit, but Into the Spider-Verse really was good. But that's another one of they made it clear that this is something that is completely separate from everything else. The fact that it's animated also sort of helped in that situation. But they made that movie, and it was really damn good.
It was good.
But they've also made Venom and the Emoji Movie and
Fantastic Four? No, that was Fox.
And they're making all sorts of other movies. Like this whole Sony Spider-Verse thing.
Yeah.
There's a Morbius movie coming out with.
I don't know who that is.
The Morbius, the living vampire.
Nope, don't care.
All right. Well, the point is they're making he's a classic Spider-Man villain. He's also thrown down with Blade a couple of times. He's being played by Jared Leto. Can't wait to see that shit. And then, of course, there's the potential that we're going to be seeing I feel
like Jared Leto's a good actor. He just hasn't got a good script.
Yeah.
In the Superman.
I just don't want him in my superhero movies. That's the thing about Jared Leto.
Yeah.
To be honest, he is a good actor. I just don't want him in superhero films. And this is just it's a big blow for the entire universe, especially because the whole point of Far From Home, which did you actually ever see it?
No, but I've seen the fight scenes on YouTube.
Okay, that is a typical Christian answer if I've ever heard one. The whole point of that movie was building up Peter Parker to be the next big guy, the next big hero, the potential leader of the Avengers, or at least someone who's going to be a key member of that group.
Top 3 for sure.
The whole movie was there was this constant feeling of Iron Man is dead, constantly, and the aftermath of Endgame and everything, it's just going from there to not being in the MCU. It's I just don't know. They're just gonna have to either ignore that shit or never talk about it. Because if it's just a Sony exclusive,
the same thing?
Yeah,
ignore it or never talk about it.
Exactly. And that's the thing.
Double negative.
It's just gonna be awkward as hell. And I really want to hear from Tom Holland on this one. He hasn't said a word yet.
You know why? Because he wants that money too.
I know.
He's like, fuck. He's also in a contract to do one more Spider-Man movie.
And 2.
Oh, 2 more?
Yeah.
So he's under contract to do 2 more. So he's already what's he gonna do? Throw away his career to do a thing? That's not gonna happen. I wouldn't do it if I was him. Mm-hmm. Would I make another $30 million per movie, or would I complain so the internet likes me? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make $60 million and fucking bang a lot of hot bitches, and then I'm going to live a good Spider-Man life. And then I'll be like, yep, it is true. Sucks.
Shooting that web, son.
Shooting that web. He's going to lay some web. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't say anything either. Also, Tom Holland's gotten in trouble for saying too much before. because he was young and he like gave away the endings to movies and
Yeah,
he fucked up on
that's
press
like the
junkets
joke of his entire career.
now. Yeah, so he's not saying shit. I wouldn't either. I don't blame him. If anyone blames Tom Holland, you really don't understand. He is a goddamn puppet inside of a giant corporate machine. Isn't it true?
Look closely, you can see the hand right up his ass.
Or you can see the webs hanging off his arms, I don't know. Whatever sort of metaphor you want, but he's a
Hollywood marionette.
He is. I mean, and that's not a diss. I mean, but he's in a giant corporate entertainment machine called Sony, and they're going to pay him whatever they need to pay him to make him do what they want. But who's he going to go do press with now? He's going to just be him and his fat friend? Like, who's going to go up there and do press with him? No more Robert Downey Jr. press. No more.
Well, Robert's dead, so.
You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, though. Like, that's one of the big, like, you're losing what is arguably one of the greatest supporting casts of all time.
They're like buddy cop movies with superpowers, and it's over. It's over. At least Thor's going to be in Guardians 3.
At least that's the gist here. But, I mean, there are some things that could come of this. I mean, obviously, I'd say it's inevitable at this point that we're going to get that Spider-Man Venom movie, especially with Sony taking back Spider-Man.
Look, at least it could be good this time.
Yeah. And like I said, there is still the potential for both of these companies to squash their bullshit and come up with another plan so that things are mutually beneficial for both. This isn't the end of anything. Things can happen. Things can change.
But we're far from home right now, Corey.
God. Anywho, the point is, it's disappointing that Spider-Man could potentially be leaving the MCU. He was one of the biggest parts of it, and arguably one of the things they've been building up the most, only for it to immediately be taken away from us. But I have hope that things will get better in the future, and maybe things will get patched up.
Yeah, I mean...
That's all we can hope for.
It's whatever. Let's see how it works out. Guess what? It doesn't really affect my life that much, and I think everyone should actually look
It really doesn't.
You should probably Google the Amazon rainforest, and I'm sorry to push that so hard, guys, but there's literally
you drink your coconut water with espresso. Jeez, you have to see what this looks like from my side.
Corey, Google it. The fucking Amazon rainforest is burning down right now, and we're talking about goddamn fake characters that shoot webs and dress like spiders that kids dress up as Halloween, okay? None of this shit matters. Go live your life. Walk outside and watch the sunset, okay? That'll change your life more than this.
You do know this is the Powerful Nerdcast,
I'm
right?
trying to help people in their life, okay? I'm trying to... Yes, of course, I know it's the Nerdcast. But also, what I'm more so saying in a larger sense is keep the shit in perspective. Because, yes...
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. It is in the Amazon rainforest, though, for all those people that live there. Corey's rolling his eyes.
Oh, my God.
Anyway.
What a buzzkill. You're just completely I mean, you're right. I should care about that stuff a lot more. I'm not going to lie.
Well, you're not going to be
able
able to
You also are right when you put things into perspective. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this means nothing.
I mean, look, these companies are capable of making great movies. Mm-hmm. They're going to take care of these characters. Mm-hmm. They're not going to do a half-assed job. They're just not going to give us what we thought we wanted. Mm-hmm. They're going to convince us we want something else now, which is what corporations do.
Yeah.
They hire large.
Both of these companies are really good at it.
Yeah. So,
like I said, the Lion King. That movie has made so much stupid money.
And it's just a lesser good version of that movie.
It is.
Yeah.
Like the whole like I said, me and my girlfriend walked out of that movie and we're just like, it was okay. It was basically a not as good version as the cartoon version.
And same thing with Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
I bet your review of it was okay, but not as good as the original is literally the review of Aladdin.
But damn it, they just make so much money.
And I bet it's the exact same thing that's going to happen with The Little Mermaid. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, I don't remember it being that tan, but it's not as good as the original, I'm just, this whole Sony thing, dude, I'm getting to the point now, maybe it's because I'm getting older, I just realized even these remakes aren't for me anymore. Because I'm not a kid anymore. Those movies were important to me because I was young when they came out. Mm-hmm. Or, your parents bought a bunch of VHS tapes or DVDs for you when you were young of all these classic movies. And, and now that we're older, when they re-come out, it's like, I'm not that interested anymore. Mm. And I don't have kids, so I don't have a reason to go back into that world.
Exactly.
So I'm just, not really, I just don't really care what these companies are doing unless it's a Marvel movie. And that's why I think I'm mad, because it's the one thing that I care that they
this
make.
is the one kind of thing that I don't go to the movies that much anymore.
Yeah.
And the Marvel films are like the things I go out to because at this point, going to see a movie is, it's more about the experience and going with your friends and having a good time. Because anybody can just stay home and watch a really good movie through any sort of streaming service.
Yep.
Something with, a little more, dare I say, class.
Dude, and I love the new stuff they're releasing on Netflix. Have you watched that Mindhunter show on Netflix?
I have not.
Fucking great. But I'll tell you what, you know why it's great? This isn't why it's great, but my wife loves those weird serial killer podcasts. They make jokes. This is what white women watch. White women love serial killer shows. That's
they see a fixer-upper is what they see.
Yeah, women love a broken dude that they think they could fix. It's like literally built into fucking suburban white women. And she loves this stuff so much. She gets so excited. And these shows are so dark and sad. Like, I'm like, what do you gain? Like, you don't like my violent video games. Like, she doesn't care about GTA, which I think is one of the most well-written worlds ever. She doesn't care about Red Dead Redemption 2. But you get a Zac Efron cutting off women's heads, and she loves that stuff.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's a whole different documentary.
Was that the Dahmer movie?
Yeah, the Dahmer movie.
I never saw that one.
Dude, Zac Efron can act his ass off.
I heard that movie was practically a comedy.
Besides all the murder.
Besides all the moida.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough.
Yeah, I don't know what people's obsession is with serial killers. Because to me, I was like, oh, broken person, not worth my time. That's exactly what I think of when I just think of serial killers. I'm like, oh. I think I've just experienced enough dark stuff in my life, especially in the last 4 years, that extra dark stuff that are related to real life human shit, I want nothing to do. If you wrap it up in sci-fi fun and add some laser guns and robots, then for some reason I'm back in it.
Okay.
But you add co-eds being murdered by a serial killer, that just does not interest me. But getting back to Mindhunter, even though I don't really care about those things, that show is really good.
Yeah.
Because it's all about how the FBI started their investigation techniques on how to ID.
So this is like a documentary type of series.
I would say it's definitely more of a drama. It's not a documentary.
Oh, so it has a narrative.
It's a narrative.
Okay.
Yeah, because they remake this. They pretty much make the timeline, but they hire actors and but season 1 was great, and season 2 they interview Manson, and the same guy that played Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood actually comes back and does the role for this too.
Crossover.
Yeah, but he has to play an older Manson, so they change his makeup a little bit. So now they're doing the Atlanta child murders in season 2. That's what's going on. And I don't know, I just find some of the content, getting back to the larger point, some of the content coming out on Netflix and Amazon, there's a new comedy special every month. I just got done watching the Whitney Cummings one on Netflix. I just watched the comedy special on Amazon Prime Video of who's the guy that does Hot Pockets? What's his jokes?
Jim Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan's. He's great. He has 15 minutes on horses. And he stops every 5 minutes. He's like, how many horse jokes does this guy have? And he's like, more. And then he keeps doing horse jokes. And yeah, so there's just a lot of good content coming out all the time. So going to the movie is not as much of a thing.
You have to really pick and choose what you want to see.
And it's anywhere from $10 to $20 a person plus snacks. So going when I'm already paying $15 a month for Netflix or whatever it is.
That's why I wear cargo pants when I go to the fucking movies.
I try to tell Dana, can we just bring our own snacks? It's not. No one will stop you if you bring snacks.
Not at all.
It's not against the rules. People just made it feel that way.
I see people walk in with coffees and all types of other shit. They're like, whatever. But back in the 90s, they were like, no.
Did they actually say no?
Yeah,
they
would get pissed if they saw that stuff.
But could they actually stop you for bringing things in? I've never actually seen someone be stopped for bringing snacks into a movie
I've never
theater.
seen it, but they frowned upon it quite a bit.
Oh, well, I'll live my life with you frowning upon me, little 15-year-old
But I mean, if you bring in
tickets.
if you bring in a cooler full of food, they're probably going to be like, I don't know about that.
We'll bring in a cooler full of chicken. And just eat your chicken or your
like fucking Brenda
fish
from Scary Movie.
Yeah.
She brings in a lot of tinfoil and chicken and a
girl.
bottle of hot sauce and shit. You can't do that. That's really disruptive.
Bring in something with a lot of garlic.
Basically. Oh, that'd ruin everything.
Oh, man.
Also, speaking of one more thing I want to talk to you about, because I know this is something you used to watch back then, and Netflix has been picking up a lot of, because, that's what Netflix does, Thank you for calling Netflix, your show is greenlit.
Yeah.
They've been bringing in all of these shows which didn't necessarily work on other networks, and they just brought in 2 animated films from Nickelodeon. They brought in Rocko's Modern Life.
Yes.
Which I saw, I watched, I liked. Wasn't perfect, but I'm okay with it. And then they also brought in, just recently in the last week, Invader Zim.
Haven't seen it yet.
Enter the Florpus.
Yeah.
Dude, watch that movie.
Is it that good?
It is really good.
I'll watch it tonight.
It's freaky as hell. Like,
it's dark.
It is literally like the show never left.
Here's the thing. I forgot how Rocko... I'm going to go back to Rocko. Rocko's Modern Life, to me, I totally forgot the format of that show and the style and the art and the delivery of the jokes. I forgot what it was like. So reliving that was a lot of fun. It's nostalgia. But I'm also realized I'm kind of glad that show's not on because there's no way I'd watch it anymore. You know, like, I'm like, this is kind of... It's one of those shows where there's like too many jokes per second. And it kind of wore me down by the end. I was kind of happy it was over.
Yeah.
You know? And also all the characters are like on crack. Like everyone screams. Everyone's like, bah! You know, Mr. Big Head, Filbert, like the boss that picks boogers. Like everyone's coming at you so hard. Whenever they went back to the sun and he transitioned and
Rachel Big Head,
but he was a very monotone character.
Yeah, that's actually the creator of the series, Joe Murray, doing his voice.
But what I'm saying,
he also used to do it back in the day.
He was so true that I was like, oh my god, like it's like standing out like a neon color. How like his energy is non this, you know, non up, and I was like, wow, this show is like really intense, and I'm like, I'm kind of glad it's gone. Because I wouldn't watch it, you know. I wouldn't watch it. But Invader Zim, also really.
I mean, if you thought that was intense, Invader Zim's gonna flip you out, man.
I know. I'm gonna try to get me and my wife to watch that tonight.
Does she know anything about it?
No, that's the other thing. Rocko, she remembered, but Invader Zim, she has no momentum, so I'm not sure if she's gonna be into it. Right. You know.
I actually felt that the older Rocko show was a little more racy with terms of some of the things that it actually did.
There's a person that transitions in this movie.
Yeah, I know, but that's just 2019, man.
I guess.
Like, you know, and obviously one of the main themes of the entire friggin' special is, you know, things change, get over it. You know, you can either go with the river or you can drown.
Yeah, that is true. That was definitely the thing. So every person having their own story of change was important.
It is funny when I was watching it, like, for the first time, and Rachel pulls up in the in the ice cream truck.
Yeah.
I was like, why does Ralph have like really big like SpongeBob eyelashes? What's going on there? Like, and then he just walks out there and he's like, oh, and I'm Rachel now.
Yeah.
And they're just like, cool, okay. And then they just keep going along with it. But to me, I think that was one of the reasons why Nickelodeon didn't want to air it, because they felt it might have drawn a little too much controversy.
In the wrong direction.
But it's got nothing but praise from everyone.
You know why? Because people don't care about that stuff. So everyone that saw the Netflix special, I don't think that's what they focused on.
Yeah.
They were just like, I'm glad it's back. Yeah. Or they hated it because they didn't care about the content. You know?
And there were still a few jokes and some hidden things in there that were like borderline.
The Chokey Chicken was in there.
The Chokey Chicken was in there. When they were floating around in space, you could see the paddles from their game, which was called Spank the Monkey.
Oh, yeah. Spank the Monkey was up there.
Like, there were little things like that are hidden throughout the entire show. I mean, I liked it. It wasn't perfect, but I did like the message behind it, though, which, you know, could come across as a little preachy. At first, I felt it was too preachy, but I was like, but that's kind of what Rocko's always been. Like, that was kind of the whole point of the damn show, Rocko's modern life. Yeah. Like, it was a sort of a reflection of the times.
Rocko's modern life.
There you go. And that's what it was here. So I recommend that one, but you got to check out Invader Zim.
I know. I'm kind of sorry I didn't watch it before we did this.
Because I'm not even a really big Invader Zim fan. Like,
no,
if
you
anything,
don't shop at Hot Topic?
No, not at all. Like, when I met you, you were like, do you ever watch that show Invader Zim? I'm like, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then you showed me, like, an episode, and then I started watching. I was like, this show's, like, really fucked up, but it's actually really funny.
It's like it was always a Halloween episode.
Like, every episode is, yeah. But it's really great. I liked it. You know, I actually want to watch that again. I enjoyed it so
Who's
much.
that voice actor that does Invader Zim? He's probably very famous.
I have
Probably does
no
a
idea.
lot of
It's
voices.
definitely every voice actor comes back for it.
Really?
So, yeah, that's what was really awesome about it. So, yeah. But, we're going to go ahead and just kind of wrap this up now. We wanted to do sort of a shorter podcast
Just
today.
like Spider-Man's career in the MCU.
Exactly. Also, just going to apologize. No video today. It's just the way things are. Accept it, just like Spider-Man leaving the MCU.
Oh, it's a hard pill.
But again, before you guys leave today, make sure to give us your thoughts about Spider-Man leaving the MCU. Do you really think this is the end for everybody's favorite webhead? Do you think eventually he will return? If Sony is going to continue to make these movies, what do you want to see from the franchise? We also brought up some Netflix shows. What are some shows you guys are checking out, whether it's on Netflix, Hulu, or other streaming services?
Amazon.
Did you guys check out Rockover and Vader Zim? And what sort of topics do you guys want to see in the future? Anything else you want to leave us with, Christian?
Not too much. Also, Corey, just for an update, you are going to do that review that Patreon person paid for?
Yes, I am. I am working on
the court
it.
of public opinion.
I don't want to say what the name of the show is because I want it to be kind of a surprise when it releases, but I'm working on my very first Patreon review.
Want to make it good, guys. And also, thank you so much for supporting us through Patreon. We really appreciate it. Thank you for using our Amazon link. All those things are being used. They're not, not every person does it. Honestly, it's probably like most big YouTube channels or small ones. You only get like 2 to 3% of the audience actually interacts in that sort of method. But you guys, you do it. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you for leaving comments, whether or not you're talking to us directly or just interacting with the discussion on the content we're talking about. We just really appreciate it. And it makes us feel like this is all worth it. So thanks for being involved.
All right, there we go, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.